Hello, this is an updated guide on Magistus, as Magistus is soon to be released to Master Duel, so I decided to just go and make a video on this deck list again, because last time I did a review on this deck list, we did not know of the rulings for Jenny when paired for Bear's Magic, but now that we know, the deck list is just like much more better, obviously, because Jenny can now banish Bear's Magic to go and summon a Magistus from the deck, which leads to even more combos and other stuff and all that stuff. And obviously we have Magistus Omega, which I don't think I covered last time, but Magistus Omega is like really good when it comes to hybrids and all that stuff. And I just want to go over the core again, just real quick, to go and like give you knowledge on how Magistus works and all that stuff. Magistus Artemis is either a 1 or 2 of. It's the Rhoda for the archetype when equipped. Wardrobe is honestly a 1 or 0. It can summon Crowley from the deck, and it's also a negate while equipped. Magistus Chorozo is just an extender you send to equips from your field or back row to the graveyard to summon itself, and it's also a tuner. The on-field effect does not matter, it's mainly just an extender. Iwaz is a equip for any monster your opponent controls at quick effect speed. You use this to fuse with Crowley, obviously, on the opponent's turn. For rate 3, I'm not going to say that name. Zoro, the fusion variant, is obviously the monster negate. He equips any monster on the field. This is obviously a 1 or 2 of. And quickly talking about the other stuff that's in the side, these are optional cards you can play in your deck. Omega summons a monster, a spellcaster level 4 specifically from your deck, and then equips itself to it. So obviously that's like really broken in certain hybrids and all that stuff. The Synchro Zoro is just a floodgate. It equips a Magistus extra deck from your extra, obviously, and it just floodgates the opponent from activating cards that are copying of the same type of extra deck monster. And Demion Crescent is obviously just an equip that just equips your Magistus spellcaster or extra deck to the back row, and on your opponent's turn it bounces it to the hand, and honestly this pairs off with Crowley as it triggers when added to hand. Crowley, the gift Magistus, is obviously the fusion maker of the deck. Obviously when it's added to the hand, except by drawing, it special summons itself, and on field it fuses on summon. This is also treated as an invoker, so you can also go into the invoke regions if needed. And Spoon is obviously the best card of the deck. It adds any Magistus monster from your deck to the hand. This includes Brilliona, which is also the back row searcher of the deck, which adds your best card like Primo Light, which sends any spellcaster or spell in the game to the graveyard. If you're playing Magistus as an engine, you're obviously going to be sending Magistus Witchcrafter Jenny to go and banish and summon your Magistus monsters from the deck. You'll be mostly summoning Magistus Zorba Flame to go and equip and also extend and all that stuff. Now, obviously, there's like a bunch of decks you can go and play Magistus in. I have a huge hybrid of list of things you can do, obviously, so I'm just going to like show you deck lists of things you can play with Magistus, okay? So just, obviously these are not like optimal lists. You can obviously change them to how you want to go play it, but these are just options on how to play Magistus and what you can do with Magistus. Witchcrafter Magistus is, in my opinion, the quote-unquote pure way of playing Magistus, as obviously the main downside of playing Magistus is Witchcrafter Jenny is considered a brick in hand, as you want to send it off with Bear Magic. So if you just play Witchcrafters, then it's not even a deal at that point, because obviously you can go and make Vice Madame, which can also combo well with Omega, as you can go pop Omega and do some other shenanigans and all that stuff. Obviously this is not like an optimal way of playing Magistus, as this is like the least best way of playing it. This is just a quote-unquote pure way, in my opinion, because obviously it's just lore accurate. The deck works obviously because it's considered more consistent now, as you have spellcasters which can get you into Artemis if you open Bear Magic. You have more hand traps than usual. You can go and like even extend this deck list even more if needed. You have Crimson plays, Savage Dragon plays. You can make the Zora with Fusion, make Invoke stuff and all that stuff. You can just go do a whole lot in this. So if you want to go play lore accurate, you can go play with Witchcrafters. That is by far the best way of playing it with a lore style deck, obviously. Another thing you can do playing it with is Centurion. Centurion is obviously a known well engine deck as well, or you can go and make Quasar and Blazars, Barons, whatever and all that stuff. And you can go and bridge Magistus and Centurion with Omega, as Omega can summon your Primera from the deck, as it is in fact a level 4 spellcaster. And you can also use Primera, as it's a generic level 8, to go and summon the bridge into the Centurion part of your deck, as you can honestly easily make it with Magistus anyways, as it is in fact generic. Again, this is not like the best way of playing it. Like, you can also like change the ratios and all that stuff, so obviously there's like other ways of playing Centurion, but this is like a really decent way of playing Centurion, because again, it's two decks that bridge each other, so you can do like crazy combo plays anyways. Another deck in mind is obviously White Forest, as if you don't know, the equips are considered spells and traps, so you can obviously send them with your White Forest monsters for their beneficial effects. This has been labbed out, like theorized and all that stuff, because again, you're playing Azamina and White Forest, which is obviously synergetic, but I don't know if this is like the best way or most optimal way. It's just another variant you can obviously play in Magistus, as again, you're playing White Forest, which just sends your equips to a grave to go and extend for even more plays. It struggles going second, obviously, because again, you're playing White Forest and it relies on your normal summon. And you are honestly like keen to hand traps, because this deck searches a whole lot, so you might get hit by Droll, and Droll really hurts depending on your hands and all that stuff. I'm not going to go over too much on this variant, because again, it's just Fiendsmith. You know about Fiendsmith. You can honestly just add a whole bunch of hand traps if you really so desire, and just say, I'm just going to play Magistus and I'm going to slap Fiendsmith in it. And yeah, you can just do it if you really wanted to. It's not fun because it's just Fiendsmith slot, but it's obviously a thing that you can do. You tend to swarm a whole lot with Magistus in general, so you can honestly make Closed Moon into a Fiendsmith combo. So yeah, go wild with Fiendsmith, I guess, if you're really into that stuff. You can just obviously see that there's a whole lot of space you can just go and add to this deck list, and then just go play Fiendsmith with Magistus. Another interesting idea for Magistus, obviously this is probably like the weakest variant, but this is on like a fun variant, because if you don't know about Omega, it equips itself after you summon the spellcaster. So if you summon Martha, it actually triggers the effect of Martha to go into Exosister of Seas, because Magistus Omega equipped from the graveyard to the field, so obviously it just fulfills the conditions of Martha, and this obviously bypasses the lock of Martha, so you can in fact end on a Magistus inboard with Magnifica and all that. Again, this is not like a best ratio and all that stuff. Again, it's a fun variant you can try out, because Exosisters is not like a popular deck or the best competitive deck anyways, but again, it's a fun way of just trying out Magistus anyways. This is obviously not a Master Duel legal list as a time of recording, but this is obviously Dracotail. It's a popular deck in the OCG and TCG. And this is mostly just a Draco Tail deck list, as Magistus is used mostly as an engine to go and make fusion plays and evoke plays, obviously. And the best card in this deck is most likely Gifted Crowley, as you can go special summon it from a hand when bounced back with your Arthur Lion, so obviously there is synergy with that. And you can obviously still make your Magistus plays with Savage Dragon and Zorua fusion. So yeah, you can obviously play Draco Tail when it comes to Master Duel and all that stuff. Another deck I do not have fun knowledge of is obviously the Allure package. It's obviously a thing you can do with Magistus. I just don't have that much of knowledge with Allures as of making this video, because I'm not really a fan of Allure, but obviously you can play Allure if you really want to. It just, again, you're playing Allure and you're playing it with Magistus, so obviously it's going to be good somewhere, somehow. Now, the good thing about Magistus is its splashability, obviously. Same with White Forest, and you can also do it with Witchcrafters now, because Witchcrafters and White Forest is like splashable together now. And now you're adding on with Magistus. This is by far a very consistent deck list. Even at 60 cards, you have some way of getting into an inboard. In my opinion, this is like the one deck I am most likely going to be playing, because again, this has my favorite archetype, Witchcrafters, in it, so obviously you can go and play all 3 decks in one and just make a complete utter pile slop in the meanwhile. Obviously you're having like a bunch of hand traps, you have board breakers if you need it, you have a whole lot of options to go and play. This is just pinnacle of slop when it comes to spellcaster slop, obviously. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. This is like a very fun way of building Magistus. Let's start off with combos. Obviously, we activate Spoon. Spoon will add our Liliana. Liliana will add Bear Magic. Bear Magic will obviously send the Jenny to the grave. We make Artemis Jenny effect and banish. We summon Zorua. Zorua will equip another Artemis to himself. We'll special the Bear. We'll make Cross Sheet. There we'll go and make Chorozo. It'll send. We'll make the Zorua. Then now we go add Gifted Crowley. Crowley will fusion summon into the Omega. Zorua will pop the Omega. Omega will trigger to summon Sylvie. Sylvie will now add Spare Tails of the White Forest. This will get to our LZs. We'll send your equips and go and add L's. And now we just start playing White Forest. This will obviously trigger Search Wanted, and we add the Trap. We'll go and add freaking the Black Witch. Now we're just going into Azamina now at this point. You can honestly see the picture. This is just a really, really good engine now. 2 engines splashed together, and now you're just doing Azamina combos now. We're just going into the Crescent, equipping to the Zorua, and now we make Baron. Now we recycle the Hollow Send to go make a Sylvie. And now we just have lots and lots of interaction. We have the ability to bounce the Crowley to the hand, to go and summon the fusion variant of Zorua or Iwaz. And we can also just have the Magistus. This guy just here, really. We have Negate, we have Baron, we have the Diabell to go Send, to go Book of Eclipse. We have the Woes, we have this Book of Moon. It's so much advantage, obviously. Now, problem is you're running out a whole lot of extra deck space anyways, so you have like 5 extra decks left. But obviously, this is just from one card, by the way. 1 card combo, let's go. Now let's go and like try out what Excellence Sisters can do. Obviously, this is still a 1 card combo. Ignore me just adding a Exorcist in hand. We can still do the whole combo anyways with just Spoon alone. Obviously, this works with Zorua and also normal Liliana as well. not the most advanced way of doing it, but you still get to do it anyways. Now we go make Crushy. Now we go add the gifted Crowley. Crowley will summon itself. And now we go and make Zorua instead of fusing. We go equip. Now we go and make the Trozo. Now we go and make Omega. Omega will pop himself. Summon the Collaborate. And then we go and summon Martha. And Martha will trigger. And now we go into Caswatel. Caswatel will search an Ellis. Ellis will summon itself. And now you can go and make Michaelis. And Michaelis will search a trap. And just like that, you now have Zorua Calamity equipped with a link, and also Michaelis Banish with a trap that summons 2 from the deck, obviously to go and exceed someone on their turn. Again, that was just from one card, and it's honestly impressive, just from one card, by the way. This is from a random hand I did with Centurion. Again, there's a bunch of combos you can do with Centurion. So let's just if you open Bestials and all that stuff. So we normal summon Reliona. What happens if it gets negated? Well, if you open a field spell, you can just extend, I guess, and just make an even better combo board, obviously. We don't need Weird Magic. So we summon a Prima. Prima will add a spell to the hand. And now we go and make Primus. Primus will add the Oath to hand. We banish Babyhood, summon the Lebellion. The Lebellion will set the regain. We now set Spoon, add a card. Crowley will fusion summon, will fuse with the Primus. Go make the fusion Zorua. Now we go and do standard Centurion combos. Draw 1 in the meantime as well. Now we make Exilo. Zorua equip. Now we make Chorozo. Now we make the Crimson Dragon, as we have the materials to make it. Go make Blazar. Equip to the fusion. And you just have obviously a whole lot of stuff even for your opponent to go deal with. They do something, obviously you can go and Synchro Summon, and now you can go into Chaos Angel if needed, if you really wanted to. And you can just go and banish. Obviously you could have made another Blazar if you wanted to, but this is just if you have all this stuff to go and do, it's just really, really good. Now, obviously, if you're playing completely pure Magistus, you need to play Spellcasters, and you need to hope you open Bear Magic, as if you open a Spellcaster, you can go make Artemis, and you just do the whole Magistus combo in the end, because again, you're just reluctantly entirely playing on Magistus alone. We now make the Omega. This will equip to Zorua, and Zorua will summon itself. Now we make Chorozo. Now we make the Synchro. Now we make Crescent. Crescent will equip to the Gifted. This will pop the Omega. Omega will summon itself from the deck. Aureliona. Aureliona will add the Verithra. Verithra will summon the Zorua. Zorua will summon Savage Dragon, which will equip to the Artemis. And you can also equip Omega to the Calamity. And now you have a negate of Link's Infusion. And you can also just go into this fusion variant of Zorua, and you have another monster negate along with Savage Dragon and whatever hand traps you have left in your hand. Again, this is basically the best you can get with just Magistus alone. Is it the best way? I don't know. I highly advise to not play just Magistus monsters, as again, it's just not really consistent, as you need to open a Magistus starter, and you most likely need to make sure you're not interrupted as well, which is hard to do in metas like Malice. Oh my god. Now, if you're playing with a slop or any kind of deck, you can honestly know that you can do some crazy things. Now, if we're playing with Witchcrafters, you have access to basically any spell or spellcaster in the game at that point, because you can just do anything you want. Now, obviously, we're going to go and do some Witchcrafter things. We got access to Bear Magic because of Witchcrafter shenanigans. We send a field spell, by the way, just because we can. Now we go and infuse with the Crowley. This we make a Mega, we'll copy the Bear Magic, this will trigger the Vice Madame, we'll pop Omega. We summon Zorba from the deck. Now we summon Sylvie to go and add the Tails. And now we start doing White Forest combos. To go and add the LZ. Now we make this Sinister. Sinister will add Reciel. Now we special. Now we make the Queen. And just like that, you're just able to go and get any spell you want. We sent the spell with Bear Magic, so obviously you just have access to any spell in the game at that point, really. So if you want to send Floodgates, you can go search Floodgates and just get it back with the Queen. Yeah, very fair and balanced. Obviously, this is like crazy combo plays, which is honestly depending on how many hand traps your opponent has. So obviously, this is not going to be like consistent anyways, but obviously you can just do this if you really wanted to. And again, it's just really crazy how easy it is to just get access to any spell in the game. And this is just 2 cards, by the way. Just open a way into Vice Madame and you can basically just do this as much as you want, really. Like, all you need is a Witchcrafter name, mainly Shmeta or Ginny, or in Aureliona or a Spoon, or just any way of fusion summoning. Because again, you always have access to Bear Magic along when you have Vice Madame on the field, as it will get you to Bear Magic easily by summoning a Shmeta to the field. Draco Tails are easy to like understand. This is just by Aureliona alone. But now we go and send Jenny to the graveyard. Jenny will copy, summon Zorba from the deck. We make an Artemis. We equip an Artemis. We summon Aureliona. We go and start adding the gift. We add Spoon. Spoon will go add the Crowley. Crowley will summon itself to go and fuse into the fusion variant of Zorba. Zorba equipped to Spoon to go and summon the Doom Dragon. Now we make a Savage Dragon. And now we go and make Karoza, which will go into the Spirit, which will also go into Seals. And that is basically how you bridge Magistus into Draco Tails, as Seals will go bounce a card on the field. And you can just go and summon the Dragon, which is also a fusion on your opponent's turn if you have monsters in your hand, which will also bounce the Crowley in your graveyard to your hand, which also means you can just fuse again into an evoked or Magistus fusion on your opponent's turn. Yeah, that's basically how the whole Draco Tail Magistus hybrid works. And this is still locked out of Master Duel and not legal in the TCG as of recording this. I hope this guide, I guess you can say, helps you learning Magistus and learning the ratios and combos and all that stuff when playing the deck. Obviously, I don't think this is the best guide in the world, obviously, because again, I'm still learning even more combos ahead of time, as this deck is obviously splashable in a whole lot of other decks, as this again is really strong support for Witchcrafters and Magistus in general, just because Spoon is a custom card and it's a card that you should be worried about. Obviously, this deck list I have right now is quote-unquote pure Magistus if you just want to play only Magistus, and there's a whole lot of hand traps in this deck list, obviously. There's a Buster Blade or Destruction Sword you can go and send with the Buster Whelp and equip it with the Fusion Zorua, because he equips any monster on the field or graveyard to himself, so you can go bust it off if you want to. But I hope you enjoy this guide. This guide is very long, and I don't even know if it's going to do well, because again, I am not really good at making guides. But I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and bye.
Show me the